like me, like really
I
outwardly
was
crying.
so-
What do they just call you, like the crier?
Oh,
I am your father.
And I turned up at this place that he's in London. He's had
Filming now. It's a lot for you. It's a lot for you.
You know, this is their choice that they don't tell their children who their father is. But I think as a person and you grow up, I think most people want to know who's part of them.
Hello beautiful angels, thank you so much for finding me and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is part 2. I'm Imogen, by the way. Nice to meet you over the internet. We could shake hands or have a cuddle. I'm a cuddler. I'm a huggler. I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger. So today is part 2 of my mum finding her dad, her story time, her truth, her just talking through the emotions. It's a very emotional one. I would say this one's even more emotional than part 1. If you haven't watched part 1, I will link it up here. Definitely go and check out part 1 because then this makes sense, this part 2. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me and thank you for watching my YouTube channel. And I love you guys. Enjoy.
And I went to visit him. And I just thought, I can't lose anything. I went to visit him. And I turned up at this place that he's in London. He hadn't really moved even very far. And I went in this room and my husband was just so proud of me. And he said, my God, you were so strong. And I walked in.
Because you're allowed to, it's assisted living.
Yeah, it's assisted living, so I wasn't actually doing anything wrong. And I asked, I said, does anyone know of? And all these other Reddit people were in the room and they pointed over to him.
Were you scared?
You
were just living on, you were going on adrenaline probably.
I was just going on adrenaline and excitement and I could actually see my dad. So I was really excited and I thought, wow, this is amazing. And then when I got to see him, I knelt down in front of him and I said, I'm your dad. I'm your dad.
Plot twist. My mum is actually my dad.
It's because it's getting really confusing.
He's my brother.
I said, I'm your daughter. And I sat down and looked him in the eye.
Oh please, I love you so much though. The line, the finishing line, the plot line. I knelt in front of him and I said, I am your father.
My
your father. It's from Star Wars. Please let my mum tell you a joke because she will tell you the ending at the beginning. Oh, you're brilliant.
I think we have to laugh because it's very heavy, isn't it?
So he found out, he suddenly was... He met his dad for the first time.
Yeah.
He thought his dad was dead.
So I'm a man, really. So I met my father. I knelt to his, and I just said, hello, Jerry, I'm your daughter.
Did you actually get on your knees?
Yeah, I went down to his level, and he looked at me, and I got a photo out and stuff, and he couldn't deny it, but he was trying to, and he kept denying it. He said, no, no. And all he kept saying was his partner would be upset. So I know that it was driven by her, the reason he shut me out. And I think she's the driver behind it all, and still is. And
Doesn't she have another partner?
No,
No, she doesn't.
But I just know that there's either money that's the driver on her part, because I have seen a lot of that behaviour, and money's a driver, or just possessive jealousy, which over-consumes people, which is really sad. Because I don't come with any, I want anything, I don't want any of his money.
Or unless she really truly believes he's telling the truth and denying it. But then even then, you said you have all this evidence.
Yeah. So then I said to him, yes, and he said, no, no, you're not. And I said, I am. And he looked at me and couldn't deny it. And I said, your name was, and I said it wrong. And he corrected me, and it's something. And he went, and he smiled, and he went,
oh my God, yeah, like, I know he's your dad, but then, yeah.
I tripped him up completely.
Because you knew his last name, because Grandma told you his last name, because that was the person she'd slept with.
And I found out from my cousins that that family name was a name that they had, but they'd been, because they were Jewish, they had been persecuted, so probably some of them had been, you know, murdered in the times of the awful, the wars. And so they changed their name. He turned around, he grinned with it. Don't forget, he's denying I'm anything to do with him, and went, that was my play name, because he was a bit of a player. He said, that was my play name I used to use, and laughed, and he corrected me of how to say it. And I said to my husband, I don't need any more.
You don't need any
I don't need more. But he won't let me do a DNA. He won't let me do anything. So I went to see him that once. The home place said, it's fine, you can come back as much as you like, don't worry, it's really nice.
And he told one of his carers that he did have a child.
Yes, and he did say, I didn't want anything, we didn't have money. So he admitted it to the carers. He admitted it to further on that I'll come to the social workers, because when he was in assisted living, he was obviously under social workers. He still is. So I think he's 86 now. He's losing his mind a bit with dementia, but his long-term memory is still there, but his short-term memory is going. But health-wise, he's a very healthy man, always has been. So I went away and was quite happy and elated, thinking, okay, I'm not going through her because she's not going to help me. And then I tried to call and I can't get hold of anyone. And then I go up another time and I get a completely different opinion from a sort of nurse-type woman that was quite horrible and cold to me, like, you should come up here, he doesn't want to see you. And then when I started talking and she sort of was like, oh, wow, and I was really complimentary, oh, you're a lovely, well-to-do girl. Oh my God, it doesn't end up with fathers the way you'd hope it would be. Come and have a sit. And we had a chat and I told her all about my family and how successful my daughter had been and how I've got a lovely family and he's got a lovely family and I got a great granddaughter and he's got a great granddaughter. And they were talking away for ages and she said, he just doesn't want to deal with it. He just doesn't want to know. Oh, tell a lie. Did I do the social workers before that? Was it after?
No, it was the second visit.
Yeah.
You did speak to one lady on the first day.
Yeah.
And she said, take my number, you can come up whenever.
Yes.
And then the second time you spoke to the social workers and
Yeah.
you did have a big honest chat.
No, I sent a letter through because they said I had to deal with the authorities properly. So this woman sent me away and said, if you're going to deal with this, you need to go through the social worker. So they gave me a name of a social worker. So that was even harder. So all of a sudden, and then as I was walking out, I was with Freya and my husband, and we saw him again. And he just looked at us, and he looked sad, but he just looked like, I can't have anything to do with you, it's all too late. And he kept asking, he's like, why now? I was like, I don't know how to find you ever.
Why now? Why didn't you never find
why
me?
did you not look for me?
Yeah.
So that was quite hard. And then I went
Why
to
now? What, so your whole life you're just meant to... Why now? People have epiphanies, people have times, people have
Dad
different...
should look for you, your
Yeah.
father should look for a child. This is why I'm so strong.
Did you ever think about ancestry or anything before, when you were younger?
Yes, we did mention it a few times. And
But it's expensive.
Well, not only that, but it was also put off by the fact that you have to have people go on that database, and it only happened to be these people that went on that database with my cousins
You never
were
believed
bought
you'd
it for
ever
his
find him, did you?
present. If they'd never gone on there, I would have never found it because his DNA's not on there. So
You asked your mum, I think you asked your mum, every time we'd see Grandma,
I'd
you would
always
say,
ask. Yeah.
tell me more, please
Yeah.
tell me, do you know any more?
Yeah, and that's why I find it really hard when people have children and they think it's, this is their choice that they don't tell their children who their father is. But I think as a person and you grow up, I think most people want to know who's part of them. It's who made you, it's who your
Your DNA.
DNA, it's your health things you can
Yeah.
get. You can't, when a doctor says to you, have you got heart disease in your family? Well, I wouldn't know about my dad, but luckily his health, because I did ask and they said he's had really good health. It's just his mind is going now, but he's had a good innings. So then I was told to write to the social worker. So I was given the name of the social worker. I wrote to them, and I'd heard that it was, I think it was Brentford Social Services, and I was told that they get so bogged down they won't even answer it. So I took the initiative to phone them up, and I phoned them up, and she said we get 200 emails a day. So I told her what happened, and I said, look, this is my dad. I found my dad, and she was like, so suddenly she brought it to the top because of my phone call. She spoke to the social worker. He phoned me. And he was horrible. He was so off with me. He treated me like
As if
I
you'd done
was...
something wrong.
Oh, it was horrendous. And you know what? I was under social services as a child, and I felt so let down by them. And I thought, you let me down as a child. And I said this to him, and you're still letting me down now as a child. And it turns out that I had no rights. If my dad didn't want to see me...
Now that's it, you have no right.
So he said, if your father doesn't want to see you, I can't make him have DNA. Some people say you can go to court. I don't know what the procedures are and how much money that would go into. But basically, I have nothing that I can actually go and see him. I can write him letters, and I sent him bits for his birthday, and I sent him bits, but I have no, I don't think there's any law that could say I could make him do a DNA unless I took it to a court.
Isn't that actually crazy though? People can go around and make babies, bring them into this world willy-nilly, yet that child has no rights. I think that's obscene. Looking at how much of an innocent Renalia is, and looking at the fact that we're grateful we made her out of love, but not everyone has that situation, that setup. So what, these men or these women can go and just get pregnant or have a baby, and these babies aren't allowed to know where they come from.
But then we fight, on the other hand, we fight for fathers to have justice to see their children, and more often, not always, children, they get to see their dad. But all of a sudden, when a child wants to see his parent, her parent or his parent, you're not allowed to, because there's a protection for them. And because he's under social work, he was protected. So this particular guy was really off with me and really cold and why now, and was treating me like I was a criminal.
I think that is such an awful question. Why now?
It was so painful. It's like, what do you mean, why now? It made me so angry. What do you mean, why now? I haven't had a chance to do it before, and why am I the one
That's
made
being
to feel
hated
bad?
for choosing to do this
Yeah,
now.
I was so cross. I felt.
What about flipping on the other side of the fact that the other person didn't try at all?
I know. So I had a go at this guy, and I said to him, I think you're being outrageous the way you're treating me. I said, you didn't protect me when I was a child, and I came through the system, which was crap. And I said,
not hating on every social services out there or social workers, because we know that you work really, really hard, but this is just my mum's experience with those specific things.
yes, get that in there. So I had a bad experience with it, and I felt let down by the system. And then I'm let down again because I have no rights. And he was really off with me. And then he decided to back down and said, okay, look, I'm going to have a conversation with your father to speak to him about what he wants to do, but we have to respect his wishes because he has rights, because he's protected under social services. So, because obviously he's a vulnerable adult because of his dementia. He must have been obviously very susceptible to not being able to look after himself, hence he's in assisted living. And they all said really nice things in the end, like it would be so nice for him to have you in his life because he's got so many stories.
He loves chocolate.
And we could talk about sort of the things that happened, and so he just went off the phone, and then he said, I'll talk to him. I said, well, without his partner, because I just think his partner will influence the outcome. I'm not sure if that did happen. Then he phoned me back and he just said, look, it's too late now. He just doesn't want to know. So, he doesn't want to get involved, doesn't want to see you.
Didn't they say something on the phone about her? They said, like, he said she doesn't want this or something. There was something that...
He kept saying that. He kept saying, this is upsetting her. This is upsetting her. It's not fair on her. So I think it was hard for him because she was probably giving him grief.
But didn't she say a couple of things about him to Mum on the phone?
Oh, we knew where he lived.
Yeah, but no, didn't she say a couple of things like, he's not been good with money, I had a previous marriage, that I had lots of money, do you remember?
Yeah, she said, I don't know why I stood by him, I don't know why I stood by him.
she was slagging him off.
Yeah, and she was, honestly, and the only thing I can think is jealousy, money driven, I don't know, but so the whole story started off in such a high. I found him, and one person said a really nice thing. I mean, you were, beautiful about what you were saying, but one of the people I was talking to about it said, but you saw him and you left a piece of you with him. He can never get that out of his head. So she said that he'll always remember that you are his daughter, however much, for so many years he's had to put you out of his head. And there were stories about when he was younger and would go to parties, he wouldn't hang around children very often, and he would avoid parties where there was lots of family. And I know that if his mother and father were alive, and some of his brothers who were really religious, one particular brother, they would have made him see me. They would have been absolutely distraught that he...
The only thing that you can take, even though how painful it must be for you, is that you have more closure now than you ever did. Mum, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that I feel like I opened that
No, because I know who he is now, don't I? I know what he looks like.
Oh, no, we've got to keep trying.
Yeah, I may go back up again and get my mother to...
Grandma said that she'd go up and speak to him and be like, come on, me and you know each other, because once he sees Grandma, you can't deny it then.
No.
And Grandma, I just think there's no harm in one last-ditch attempt.
No, I suppose
He would probably like seeing Grandma.
Because it still goes through in my head. It still goes through that people say, oh, be grateful that you saw him.
No, you don't. You shouldn't be grateful for that. You should...
People say, that's more than I ever had. So I am really grateful that you got me down this road and found him. Because I had nothing else, did I? I had nothing. So I do know he exists. I know that he's still alive.
What he looks like.
I know what he looks like. I know his family, and they're a lovely family. And how successful they've all been, and how the twists and turns in their family life.
Yeah.
It just always feels like it was just a little bit late. I wish I'd been able to do it sooner, but you never know how to do these things, and it's all advancing more with DNA now. So things are getting easier, but
True, because let's say we did this like 10 years ago.
there'd be nothing. Those
There
things
would-
wouldn't have been on the database.
Yeah, those family members wouldn't have been there.
No. So, and it only happens that they were both, you know, so all of a sudden I've got these cousins that, and we're going to hopefully meet up next year.
Wow.
They're coming over.
Mm.
And, yeah, so.
I think you've been so brave through this whole thing, and you've been a credit to yourself, not to your mum and dad, because let's be honest, both of them didn't really raise you. Love grandma, but you are you, and what you've gone through in this life. You know, you've got such amazing friends, and you've got a family that absolutely adores you. You made a family unit for yourself that they didn't make for you.
Yeah.
And I think we learn from our parents' mistakes. We do. And I'll make loads of mistakes that Renelia and my children will learn from. And then we go, well, I'm not going to do that. And you've created this amazing, loving environment that you never got to live around.
But you know what, even like you said about not being selfish, it wasn't all about my needs as a daughter. It was also really strongly about him having something to think, you know, I had no grudge against him. I had no intention of being nasty to him.
Because none of his family are alive anymore.
You know, and it was more about, look at, you've got this successful granddaughter, you've got a little great granddaughter.
Not about me, it's about you. You've got an incredible daughter. He is an absolute idiot if he doesn't want to know you.
Yeah,
Sorry, but...
And all these wonderful children, you know, Jacob, Hugo, Aaron, Freya, you know, all these wonderful children that are part of my life now. And he's just doesn't want to know. And it's just so sad. So any dads out there, please do the right thing.
Yeah, mums and dads out there, please just, I don't know, it's hard to say. You don't know everyone's situation. You don't know everyone's life or their upbringing. You don't. But you just hope that, I don't know. Just
So we'll try
protect your
again.
children.
Maybe I should go back again.
I think you should. I think you should get Grandma to go.
And write a letter.
You could always wait outside, let Grandma go in, see what the vibe is,
Yeah.
and then he might say, come in. You don't know what day he's feeling like. And even then you can still just make a day of it.
But judging from the experiences I've had with women in men's lives when they're getting old, there's a lot of, and I think men do it as well, I think it's people, isn't it? There's a lot of manipulation over things. And to be honest, if he had me in my life, she could be saying, I'll cut you off, and she's his main carer. And she's it's so hard. So
she's his main carer, but she doesn't go every single day.
No, she doesn't.
But she doesn't
But
have to.
she's under his, so she counts as like his next of kin. I've been like...
But what's absolutely ludicrous is that he was in London this whole time.
I know. I was thinking he'd gone back to South Africa, and he's not far from the area that he met my mum, and he knew my granddad, and it's just weird. I just think it's sad, really. It is sad. It's just like...
It's pain.
It is. It's just like, oh, I wanted it to be the fairy tale.
And you opened old wounds. It actually opened more wounds, probably. But you should be so proud of yourself for going through all of this and still remaining the exact same person you've always been. This hasn't made you bitter. This hasn't made you anything other than the same loving mum you've always been and the same loving wife you've always been. You know, unfortunately, we can choose our friends, we can't choose our family. And unfortunately, you didn't get to make that decision of who your dad was going to be. And he just, if he doesn't want to know you, Mum, he isn't, honestly, it's his biggest loss. It's anyone's biggest loss to not have you in their life, because you're amazing. I don't want to stop filming now. It's a lot for you. It's a lot for you. You're amazing. You're such an amazing person, Mum. You deserve the world. I wish I could give it to you. I will one day, sweet girl. I'll pick the rod up. I know they like this.
Yeah, it was hard, wasn't it? That was really quite, I don't know, sort of feel emotional inside as opposed to...
No, you don't have to be out externally like that, though.
No, but you know how you feel quite deep and sort of quite...
Yeah. I think when Mum was younger, she was a lot more like me, like really
Oh,
outwardly
was
crying.
so-
What do they used to call you, like the crier?
Oh, what do they used to call me? Oh, here goes the fountain or the wet...
Waterworks.
Waterworks. It was always called the waterworks, always crying.
I think as you go through life, as you get older, things make you different. You're more inward now.
Yeah, I am. I'm more sort of... I suppose I do really feel things. I'm very reflective, but I'm very quietly reflective.
And you've gone through a lot in your older years to make you more, not strong, because crying isn't a weakness, but also
resilient
and more closed off because you've been so hurt. You know?
Yeah, I think you're right.
And you've gone through the menopause, your life and emotions, everything changes.
It does. You do change as a woman as well. And I think you're right. I don't think I'll ever be a hard person because that's not me. I'm very soft, but I'm also stronger in a way that life's thrown quite a lot of stuff at me over the years. I've had to deal with a lot of doing it myself, and I think it just makes you more resilient to things. You just have to go, I can't fall to pieces, because who's going to pick me back up? You know, I need to put myself together. And
you worry quite internally. Even though you message me and tell me all the worries, you still don't outwardly show your emotions that much anymore.
I do.
You no, I don't know how to explain that. You tell us all day, every day, how much you love us. But I'm a different end of the spectrum. You are more levelled now, probably. You're more levelled with your emotions, I'd say. I'm like down there, tipsy-turvy, like cry everything, happiness and sadness.
My hormones and things as well would make me very cry so easy. I'd cry to myself to sleep so many times.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be absolutely crazy, wouldn't it?
I am you. I am you.
But I just go, I do cry and I just have big meltdowns, but I don't know, I just feel quite shy about crying sometimes. Yeah. I get sort of overwhelmed. And
you don't have to cry to show emotion though.
No.
It doesn't mean that you're any less upset or any less hurt. Everyone shows emotions differently. That's why I always say to people that watch me, because a lot of people do give me hate for the way that I am, but I would never give someone hate for being an introvert. I would never give someone hate if they don't.
But I also
cry
think it's about the
anything.
relationships you're in as well, because, you know,
How you feel you can be.
Yeah, and I have a husband that doesn't really like dealing with emotions and doesn't understand them. So I then have to sort of internalise them, because I know that he gets either overwhelmed or underwhelmed and can't deal with it. So over the years, because I don't have that sort of support in the way that I would like it, sort of a softer, sort of different approach.
And I also think the divorce, everything that happened in that, everything you had to go through, it definitely made you like, fuck this. I've got to be a different woman. And it shaped you.
Yeah, because I felt
everything we go through shapes us.
Oh, it does, it does. But as long as you don't become bitter and twisted and angry, because there's no point being that. That's all consuming. It's nice to still be sorry. I'm very, very heartfelt. I'm very much like...
Oh my God, that will never change.
I very much like believe in being kind to others, being, you know, a genuinely nice person. You know, I'm feisty and I can be a cow and I need to be, can't we all, when people, you know, back you in a corner or anyone does anything to my children. I am the worst. I'm ruthless. But that's probably come from having a tough upbringing as well. It's made me with that sort of fire in me.
But you have
But that doesn't make me hard.
No.
And I hate it when people say that to you. If you're like, if you're strong or you're like feisty, or you're hard, or you're, oh, look at you, you're aggressive. It's like, no, I'm passionate. I'm passionate. And sometimes that comes across as being aggressive. I don't know. But I'm passionate about things. I believe in being kind to others in the world. I believe that what you give out, you get back. And I've always stood by that. And I believe that whatever you give, you know, will come back in a different way, and that means negative or positive. But I think the more positive you are to people and you can smile at people, you know, the better you feel inside about yourself. And the more you give to others, like compliments or love to people, it's such a nice warm feeling.
I think it's just very alien, not to everyone in the UK obviously, but as a country we're not the most warm and loving. Stereotypically, obviously there's so many different people, but I think the way that I've grown up, the way I'm so like you, very over the top with the way that we are with people.
But we are quite mixed blood, aren't we? So it's probably the matter.
And our emotions are very like this. I think that lots of people are very judgy to that, and I've always said to you, haven't I, like, I feel so different to so many people, and I know there's loads of people that do relate to me, but the way I feel everything so deeply is definitely from you, Dad, 100% you as well, like you so much. And I think it's just hard because I'm a very emotional person like you, but I also now have a backbone. So if I need to back my family, back myself, back my babies, I'll back them to the ends of the earth. Then people are like aggressive or argumentative or, oh, you're...
or you're too nice, you're fake.
Yes.
You're fake, she's fake, she's so smiley and so
the
friendly.
top.
It's like, no, I'm not two-faced, I'm genuine. What you see is what you get.
Yes.
And I would just say to anyone out there, just be yourself, be real, stop being consumed with jealousy, stop being consumed with hatred.
Yeah.
Life is really tough, and people have their own journeys and their sadness and their sorrow, but
don't take your pain out on others.
Yeah, just support each other. I mean, I could have been the most horrendous, horrible person for what I went through, but I decided I'm going to be a better person, and there are so many people that could be like that if they just looked and said, do you know what, I'm going to... whatever, get help, be supported, be a kind person.
I wish we supported each other more as a as a gender.
Yeah.
You know, I wish women backed each other more. I wish we were more like, go you, you're amazing. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've not sit there and ever not slagged someone off as a woman, you know, like when I've been younger and stuff. But I think as I get older, I definitely realise that if we were all strong in this world with each other, then the world would be a better place. But I don't think it's ever going to work, because I think that's the way the world goes round. Yeah, and we're humans, we make mistakes, yeah. Anyway, how long we spoke for, Mum? 47 minutes.
That's okay. And I love having a
you've
cushion.
been amazing. We both hug cushions. I've got that for you.
Or a bag, a handbag, or
anything
where I could just come in. It's like a little...
Oh, thank you for doing that, Mum. You're amazing.
Really nice.
Thank you guys for watching and being so supportive and listening to my mum's incredible story. And the story is not over.
No, it's not over. And let's hope if anybody out there knows a better way that I could do it.
Yeah, please holler at your girls.
Yeah, let us know, because I don't know what other avenue to go down without costing an absolute fortune, but we don't know, perhaps we'll just go outside with banners and I want to see my dad, I want to know him, I want him to know all about me, you know, when you're proud of, and I think
He'd be so proud of you.
And I think what hurt one day was, I don't really rate myself, I'm not these people that think I'm amazing, and when Imogen says that, I get really embarrassed and shy about it, and I think, really, is that me? I think I've always been like that with myself. I've never been someone that's...
No one would think it about you, but you're very insecure about you as a person.
I know.
But no one would ever think it, because you're so confident and loud and bubbly.
Yeah.
No one would ever think you have these but you do. Everyone does.
Yeah, and I never go around thinking I'm amazing, or what I do I need credit for, or any recognition. And people say to me, you do so much and you don't even think about it. I was like, because it's just me, it's the way I think. But I just think, I remember a solicitor when I was, you know, separating from your father, and it was only one, he said this comment, and I never really thought about it, and he went, oh, where's your father? What's your father's background? I said, I don't know my dad. And he went, oh my God. He said, if I had a daughter like you, you'd be so proud. And I was like, no one's ever said that to me. And it was just such a moment, you know, light bulb moment, when I thought, wow, why doesn't he know about me? And so, but hey, it's not the end of the story.
But then everyone else in your life is lucky enough to know you.
But I touched his heart, I saw him. He's going to always have my face.
He'll always know how.
I've triggered memories in his life that he put to the back, stories. He was coming out with stuff that he remembered, that it just, you know, he just ticked all the boxes, and then I thought, you're my dad. You're my dad. There's nothing else. There's no questioning it. So at least I found him, you know. So thanks to you, Mels.
You're amazing. It's the least I can do. This isn't over. We'll let you know. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. This has been a very emotional evening. I think poor Mum needs to relax now. You need a tea and to relax, calm down.
Tea, and we need to watch some good TV.
Yeah, we will. I love you, Angel. And I love you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm going to love you.
Daughter.
Oh,
I'm going to leave you.
Mum. She's so proud and sweet. I love my mum. She's so sweet.